Blessed day, guys, and peace be upon you this morning. So in this video, we're going to learn how to configure EIGRP version 6 routing for IPv6. So we're going to learn how to configure EIGRP for IPv6. Okay? Alright, so I'll open our Google spreadsheet and let you know that today we're in number 19, part 2, EIGRP for IPv6 routing, right? Okay, so without any further ado, I'll open our notepad to write the steps that we're going to follow to tackle this problem, IPv6 plus EIGRP. So the first step is always to draw the necessary topology, we decorate and comment. So as you can see here, I have been using this same topology to configure static routes for IPv6, RIP, RIP for RIP and G for IPv6. So today we're going to use the same topology to configure EIGRP version 6. Okay. Alright, so you can see I'm just using a 2911 router, 3 of them, and 2960 access switches. Okay, and we want to have a scenario whereby we achieve communication between site A and site B using IPv6. Okay, and we have to implement routing protocol between these 3 routers, and the routing protocol that we're going to implement here is EIGRPv6. Okay, all right. So the second step is to enable global IPv6 global routing or forwarding in all the routers. So before you configure IPv6 addresses or implement any routing protocol, always make sure that your first step is to enable IPv6 routing or global forwarding. Okay, all right. So I did very fast this time. So when I go to this router here, come to CLI, say no, enable, and config T, and just say IPv6 unicast routing. That's all. So I do the same for these 2 routers very fast this time. Alright, so I've enabled IPv6 routing in all these routers. So the third step is to configure IPv6 addresses to the router's interfaces and include both link local and GUA. So guys, basically we want a scenario whereby each interface we configure with both link local and global unicast address. So in the case of EIGRP, each interface, this interface and this interface, will have both global unicast address and link local. So for example, for this interface, I want to have a link local address of because the link local address will be used for neighbor formation. Okay, so that's why I want to include it here. So just say FE 80 double colon, let's say so here I'll use let's say 8. Okay, so this one would be like the route ID here. So on this side it will be FE 8 9. Okay, so and I want this one to be FE 7 FE double colon 6 here. Okay, all right. So that's the link local here. That's the link local here. That will be the link local address there. And finally, this one will be the link local address here. Okay. All right. So I'll begin configuring IPv6 addresses in all these interfaces. So I'll demonstrate with one. Then for the rest, I do very fast save time. So let's start with this interface, gig 01. So gig 01 will have an IP address in this network and take this link local address. So I'll just go here and I just say interface gig 0/1. Okay, then the first thing, no shut, turn it up. Okay, all right. So IPv6 address link local is FE 80 double colon 1. Okay, all right. Oh, sorry. Then specify that this is a link local address. That's all. Then now global unique address. Global unique address will be this network, will be in this network. So I just copy all of this network. Just copy all of that network and come and paste here. Okay. Then the IP address now will be IPv6 address will be, let it take dot double colon 1. Okay. Or that's all. Then we go to this interface, which is a gig 00. So gig 00 will take IP address, IPv6 address from in this network and the link local address of this one. Okay. So it's just the same thing. What I do, I just copy this network and fair 80 double colon 8. I can master that. So we go to gig 00. So gig 00, no shut, turn it up. Then configure our link local, which was fair 88 double colon 8. Change this to 8 that way. Okay. Then now global unique address will be I paste that one and let it take double colon 1. Okay. Good. Exit and do that. So guys, what I've done on this router here, I will do the same on this router and this router. Okay. I believe I've demonstrated enough to help you now to configure IPv6 address, both link local and global unique address. So I do it very fast to save time. Okay. Okay guys, so I've done IPv6 configuration on the router's interfaces, both link local and global unicast address. So if you can just go here and say do show IPv6 interface brief, you can see the interfaces are here. Gig 00, it has those two IPv6 address. Same applies to gig 01. Okay. All right. So the next thing, as per our notepad, you can see it's configuring IPv6 on the computers. So guys, basically, being that this interface is IPv6 enabled, all the connecting computers can get IPv6 address. They can use a method that's called stateless address auto configuration to get IPv6 address. Okay, being that this interface is the IPv6 enabled. Okay, so we use what's called stateless DCP v6 server. Okay, so when you go here, as long as you enable that interface and you've configured IP address, these computers will get IPv6 address. You can see they have gotten IPv6, so I can just go back to static. You see IPv6 request successful. So even on this side also, we can just verify. You can see, you can go back here and come back. Oh, where is the link local address? This one, I made a mistake somewhere. Let me just see where I made a mistake. Oops, you see here, I made the link local address to be fair 8, so I'll just correct it. So it's gig 01. Then I say no to this first. No, that one. Okay. Then now I configure it correctly. I change this to 3. Exit. Do right. So when I go back here and PP configuration, come back to static and go back to automatic, you can see it's now for 80.3. Okay. All right. So so what's next now? Configure EIGRP version 6 and test communication. Guys, this video was made for EIGRP. Okay, so we need to configure EIGRP in each router to enable communication between the remote networks. Okay, all right, so let's start with this router. Just come here, and what I'm gonna do, you just say IPv6 router EIGRP. Let the router know that it's using EIGRP as the routing protocol. And when you try to query here, autonomous system number, you can use any number. Let me use just 45. I like 45 as the autonomous system number, but you can use any number from 1 to 65,535. Okay, all right. After this one, make sure at least you give the router ID. Although the router will be using the link local to form the neighbors, but just give it a router ID. The first thing, give it the router ID. Just say EIGRP route ID to be, let's say, 1.1.1.1. That's all. Then you have to turn up this EIGRP with that autonomous system number, because it's always in shutdown state. Just say no shut. Okay, that's very important. That's very important in IPv6. Okay, make sure you turn up the IPv6 router EIGRP with that autonomous system number. Okay, now you go to each individual interface and enable EIGRP. So let's say interface gig 0/0, just say IPv6, EIGRP 45. Okay, that's all. You just go back, then go to gig 1 and say EIGRP IPv6 EIGRP 45. That's all. That's all. How to configure EIGRP in IPv6. Okay, so let's do the same here. So when you come here again, we just say IPv6 router EIGRP autonomous system number to be 45. Okay, then EIGRP route ID to be, let's say, 2.2.2.2. So basically, now let's test communication. We've configured IPv6 here. I mean EIGRP with IPv6. Even if I can just go here and say show IPv6 EIGRP neighbors, you can see there are two neighbors. One neighbor is FE88 and FE87. So FE88 is this one, FE87 is this one. Neighbors to this router here. So let's test communication. I'm going to try to ping from this side to this side. So let me take the IPv6 address of this computer. Come here. You can see the IPv6 address is very long. So to get it easily, just go to command prompt and say ipconfig. Okay, and copy it. Copy this one. Don't copy link local because there will be no communication. So just come to this one. Link local is used for local communication. So ping that IPv6 address. So you can see our communication is going successfully. Alright, so basically guys, I believe this video has really helped now to configure EIGRP plus IPv6, and I'll mark that section as done. Bye guys, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, share with friends, and let's see you again in the next video. Bye.